Jockey Club donates over $700 million to help residents of transitional housing. Customs buzz drug trafficking attempt using car wheels. And Iran's foreign minister speaks after Israel's retaliatory attack of a limited scale. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The Hong Kong Jockey Club is donating $720 million to help low-income families living in transitional housing. The program, called Project Lift, is intended to make residents become more independent. Mimo Sangai reports.
The launch ceremony for the Jockey Club's Project Lift program was held at Sha Tin Racecourse on Saturday. The program has 5 aspects, with the purpose of lifting families out of the poverty cycle. For instance, transitional housing families can receive consultant guidance to help them explore career opportunities and personal strengths. Individuals can also improve their saving habits and financial literacy under a savings scheme. Each family can receive a subsidy of between $10,000 and $20,000 based on the number of family members. Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan was among the officials who attended the ceremony. Chan said the government attaches great importance to the collaboration between the government, the business sector, and the community. He added poverty alleviation has always been a focus of government policy. The Jockey Club said the program will run for 5 years and will benefit 14,000 families in 25 transitional housing projects. This is Wai Hong, a warehouse keeper and a father of 2 children. He lives in a transitional housing unit in Tsuen Wan and was introduced to the program by a social worker. He told reporters he is delighted to see his family's transformation since joining the scheme, highlighting better saving habits and a healthier lifestyle. The Jockey Club, meanwhile, referred to the scheme as a bold attempt of innovation.
We are actually importing a concept which have never been applied in an urban and relatively developed economy of Hong Kong. I think we've tried many different things in Hong Kong to try to do that, trying to make sure that the resources delivered to the people who are in need can actually help them to elevate themselves out of that need.
While the scheme is set to operate for 5 years, the club said it does not mean the project has to be terminated once it reaches the end of its running period.
Chan described the 5-year program as a quarter of a milestone and will constantly review the scheme over its implementation period. Memos 9, TVB News.
Neighboring Guangdong province has been hit by storms of heavy rain, strong winds, and damaging hails over the past few days. Some neighborhoods were flooded with air and land traffic disrupted. Authorities also warned that Bay River, the northern tributary of the Pearl River, is set to experience very heavy flooding.
Rain continues to pound Guangzhou. Multiple districts issued alerts for rainstorm, hailstorm, and strong winds, all at the same time. Under the adverse weather conditions, Guangzhou's Baiyun Airport saw more than 100 flights delayed for over an hour. Also hounded by the torrential rain was Shaoguan Prefecture. Streets turned into rivulets, with water levels reaching knee-high. Firefighters had to dispatch rubber dinghies to rescue residents. The downpour also disrupted rail operations, with services along the Beijing-Guangzhou Railway passing through Shaoguan and Yingde City suspended. Some travelers stranded at Shaoguan East Station were arranged by authorities to take the high-speed rail to Guangzhou. Deluge in the city of Qingyuan in northern Guangdong as well. With water levels having reached as high as 50 to 60 centimeters, residents must wade through the floodwater whenever they get out. This Qingyuan citizen said the floodwater made her unable to go to work. During the rainstorm, a tree collapsed onto a private car. Part of Zhaoqing City became rapids with muddy water. The Hydrological Bureau at Guangdong Province said under the influence of strong rain, they recorded a surge in water levels around Beijiang's river basin. As of 2 p.m., the water levels at 32 monitoring stations surpassed alert levels. Authorities also expect the northern tributary of the Pearl River will experience serious flooding.
A cyclist was struck by a Disneyland hotel shuttle bus near the theme park's resort at around noon. The crash happened on Magic Road when the shuttle bus was driving from the Disney Explorers Lodge Hotel to the theme park. The 38-year-old bike rider was trapped underneath the coach and she fell unconscious at the time. She was taken to hospital and is now in stable condition. The cyclist is reportedly a frequent triathlon participant. The passengers on board the Disney Resort shuttle bus were unharmed. The coach driver has been taken away by police for further investigation. Hong Kong Customs busted a drug trafficking case that used car wheels to hide about 100 kilograms of suspected cannabis. A man has been arrested. Customs also noted a spike in cannabis seizures in the first quarter of this year.
With an estimated market value of about $23 million, the vacuum-packed cannabis seeds were found hidden in these car tires. On April 5th, after analyzing intelligence collected, Hong Kong Customs intercepted a shipment declared to be 18 boxes of car wheels imported to Hong Kong by sea from the United States. After X-ray examination, customs officers detected abnormalities in the wheels and found marijuana stashed in the tires. Customs then followed the delivery of the car wheels and arrested a man who tried to collect the goods at the warehouse on April 8th. The 36-year-old, reportedly a truck driver, was released on bail. Authorities are not ruling out more arrests. Hong Kong Customs said drug trafficking syndicates are devising more elaborate schemes to smuggle drugs. They include stashing the drugs and other goods for cover and transporting them through consolidated consignment via sea routes to avoid interception. Customs said that as of mid-April, authorities had cracked down on 117 cannabis smuggling cases, with 1.28 tons of marijuana seized. The quantity is more than half of the total in 2023 and has also surpassed the annual seizures during the epidemic. Customs noted that cannabis has been legalized in some overseas countries, and that has led to misconceptions among some people that the drug is non-addictive, something the authorities want to reiterate is wrong.
A survey found nearly 70% of residents do not have confidence that the government's waste charging scheme can be implemented as scheduled. New Youth Forum interviewed 1,032 residents through phone calls this week and found nearly 35% were uncertain about it. The government scheme is due to start in August. More than half of those questioned believed it should be dropped. 25% said the government should postpone it. TVB News found that a direct marketing company has sold supplements with animal placenta extracts, claiming they can cure multiple ailments, including chronic diseases and even cancer. But the pharmacist reminds these kinds of supplements contains estrogen, and there could be health risks if people consume too much. The company claims their Dear Placenta supplements contain 99% of active stem cells, and taking them orally can achieve the same efficacy as an injection of medicine. Amy, a former participant at the weekly briefing from the direct marketing company, said the product touts multiple effects that are dubious. So Yuhua, president of the Society of Hospital Pharmacists, said placenta contains lots of estrogen and its overconsumption can trigger the growth of cancer cells in the breasts and vagina. Professor Leung Yu-hong from the HKU Medical School said the current clinical application of stem cells doesn't include oral administration. There were widespread reports that Israel launched an attack of limited scale at Iran after explosions were heard in the central Iranian city of Isfahan on Friday. Iran's foreign minister, though, refused to acknowledge that Israel was behind the attack, describing it as children's toys. He said Iran has concluded its actions against Israel after last week's attack involving more than 300 drones and missiles. NBC News with a story.
Israel and Iran tonight playing down the apparent Israeli retaliatory strike inside Iranian territory. Video showing only glimpses this morning of anti-aircraft systems firing around the city of Isfahan. Israel fired 3 air-launched ballistic missiles into Iran last night, targeting an Iranian airbase, according to officials familiar with the operation. Iran did not strike back as threatened. Instead, local media controlled by the state downplayed the attack and showed life in Isfahan as normal, the nuclear facility nearby unaffected. Tonight, Iran telling NBC News they will not escalate their conflict with Israel, describing last night's attack as child's play.
Is Iran done for right now sending any more missiles or attacking Israel?
If Israel retaliates and comes up with a new adventurism, then we will respond. But if not, then we are done. We are concluded.
Iran's foreign minister, Hussein Amir Abdullahian, would not even acknowledge an attack by Israel. Speaking through an Iranian government interpreter, he said they quickly downed the drones flying over Isfahan.
They took off from inside Iran, and they flew for like a few hundred meters, and then they were downed and struck by our air defense. And it has not been proven to us that there is a connection between these and Israel.
When you attacked Israel, you telegraphed that attack. You let other Arab nations know this was happening. Did anyone, any other country, tell Iran last night this attack was coming?
What happened last night was not a strike.
But did any other country tell you something was happening and they were going to invade your airspace and attack possibly one of your bases?
2 or 3 they're like more like toys that our children play with, not drones. It was not worth telling us before it happened.
In your opinion, that was not an attack by Israel last night, even though we've seen explosions on video?
We are investigating this, the matter. The claim that is made in the media, according to our information, is not accurate. And Israel is trying to, after propaganda.
The foreign minister warned if Israel struck again, Iran would respond with force.
If Israel wants to do another adventurism and acts against the interests of Iran, and our next response will be immediate and will be at a maximum level.
A source familiar with the matter tells NBC News Israel told the U.S. ahead of time about the strike. Israel attacked Iran's embassy compound in Syria earlier this month, and Iran responded firing more than 300 drones and missiles, nearly all of them shot down by Israel with considerable help from the United States and other allies. Israel, it seems, doesn't want to escalate the shooting war with Iran either, making no public comments about it. No public reaction from President Biden either. Only this from Secretary of State.
I'm not going to speak to anything other than to say we were not involved in any offensive operations.
And still ahead, the U.S. Congress takes major step in approving aid to Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urges the West to give more help in air defense systems. Welcome back. In a key procedural vote in the U.S. Congress, the House of Representatives voted to approve a foreign aid package of $95 billion for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and humanitarian support. It clears the way for a final vote on Saturday, when each of the 4 elements will be voted on separately. House Speaker Mike Johnson has altered the bill that was passed by the Senate, which gave a blank check for all 4 elements. Nasu Karim has more.
The resolution is adopted without...
In a rare show of bipartisanship, Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives joined hands with their Republican counterparts to clear an initial hurdle for President Joe Biden's $95 billion foreign aid package. The 316 to 94 result was achieved after Democrats supported Republican Speaker Mike Johnson's plan for a dual voting process for the package, which provides funding for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and humanitarian aid. The next phase is Saturday, when each of the 4 parts of the package was voted on separately.
Well, we're happy that the rule passed today. We look forward to final passage on the bill tomorrow. I think there's a couple of things that are important to remember here. We did not pass the Senate supplemental bill. It was a better process to break the bills into 4 separate measures for consideration, and that is what we will have tomorrow.
But opposition is expected, particularly from hardline Republicans. Among them is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who not only wants Ukraine to receive zero money, but wants to start the process to remove Johnson as House Speaker. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat House Minority Leader, compared the bill to the actions of Winston Churchill and Neville Chamberlain, referring to the British Prime Minister during World War II.
This is a Churchill or Chamberlain moment. We can either confront aggression when it's directed at democracy and freedom here in America or throughout the world, or we can appease it. And there are several months that have gone by where pro-Putin MAGA extremists have indicated they want to appease Vladimir Putin's aggression. This is a serious moment. The fate of the free world is actually at stake.
The White House said the funds would be distributed immediately and that Biden supported the bill. The fourth provision features a number of Republican priorities that are backed by Democrats. It includes a potential U.S. ban on popular video app TikTok if its China-based owner ByteDance does not sell its stake within 1 year. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
As the U.S. Congress votes on the foreign aid package, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky again urged his Western allies for more air defense systems during an online meeting with NATO defense ministers gathered in Belgium. With Ukrainian forces stagnating in their war against Russia, they are being held back further by Moscow's vastly superior air power. Zelensky asked for more Patriot air defense assets or similar systems.
Ukraine did not ask you to send your soldiers to fight against Russian occupiers. Ukrainians are holding the front line on their own, receiving military assistance. But now, the assistance is still very limited. And in particular, we are still waiting for new support packages from the United States. American support has been in question for too long. We are telling this directly to defend. This year, we can't wait for decisions to be made. I ask you to consider as soon as possible our request for your determination.
Dubai's airport, one of the world's busiest, is still trying to get up to full capacity as authorities deal with the aftermath of unprecedented rainfall and flooding in the United Arab Emirates. Although Emirates, the major airline operating out of that airport, says it has managed to return to a normal schedule. Most of the water has disappeared, but there is still a backlog of flights. Many planes were still grounded overnight. The airport, which acts as a major international hub, had to limit air traffic in and out over the last couple of days because staff could not get to work. There are still massive queues inside the airport, with many people forced to camp overnight. The country received what would normally be 18 months' worth of rain in just a few hours earlier this week. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.